The type of component used so far using this app.component is classed as a global component, meaning they are instantly available to use anywhere in our application. This also includes subcomponents too. By subcomponents, I mean components which are nested inside of others. For example, not that it makes a lot of sense, but we could also place our header component inside of this blog post. This template is just like our HTML, so we could place this in just like we did in the index page. So this was app-header, and also close this off. And if we now save this and refresh our project, we see that our header title and our navigation links is available in each one of our blog posts. And this is because they are globally available. So unless you specifically want this behavior, we can also restrict the use of components by instead registering them locally. Local registration involves moving away from app.component and creating regular JavaScript objects. These objects need to be created above vue.createApp, and we'll see why in just a moment. So the first one is going to be for our app header. Just like we said, this is going to be a regular JavaScript object. And the second component was for blog post. And now we can grab the contents of both of our components and place them inside of these objects. So the first one is the app header. So scroll down to our app header component, and then we can copy all of the contents inside of this curly brace. So don't copy this curly brace, we're just going to copy the contents right down to the closing header section. Let's grab this and then paste this inside of our object. The next one is our blog post, and we can do exactly the same. Here we're going to grab the props and also the template. Add this inside of here. We're then going to register our intent to use these components inside of vue.createApp. We can do this by creating a component section, and then add a comma at the end. So the name of the first component is going to be blog-post, which is going to be equal to our object which we created above, which is blog post. Separated by a comma, the second one is going to be the app header. And our components are now registered to use inside of our index page. So a few things to first note: the JavaScript object which we create above must be declared above this create app, so we can then access them inside of our components. And if we also have multiple Vue instances, we can now control exactly which components we want to appear or to be available in each one. We no longer need these global components down at the bottom, so I'm going to comment out the app header and also the blog post. Over to the browser, refresh the page, and our blog posts are now appearing alongside our header. But one thing to note, that inside of each one of our blog posts, we'll no longer see this app header. Remember from before, if we scroll up to our component, we still have in place this app header component inside of each blog post, but we'll no longer see it inside the browser. So why is this? Well, this app-header is now a subcomponent of our blog post. And now that our components are local rather than global, we now don't have access to our components anywhere we want to. If we did want to use this app header or any other component inside of here, we would also need to pass in the components option too. So just like we did inside of vue.createApp, we can also pass in our components. This again is an object, and then we're going to declare that we're using this app-header, which is going to point to the app header object. Save and refresh, and its local registration now places our app header into each one of these blog posts. Of course, we don't need this for our project, so I'm going to remove this component and also the line of code inside of here. But this is an example if you did want to locally register a component inside of another one. Now we understand more about Vue and components, Next, let's discover a better setup using a Vue CLI, along with beginning our next project.